I mean, you can't do that.
Music Man curated
Oh, you're looking at a puppy.
rehearsal presentation. Before we start, I wanted to give you a little context um, and explain some of the obstacles that we ran into as we went through this process. One of the big obstacles we ran into was, of course, technology and getting used to technology. So maybe instead of explaining that, I'll give you a little
Claudia?
That is fine.
Okay, cool. Then we'll do it this way. Now, if you put it on speaker view, in the corner, will each person pop up or no?
Yes, it will.
So hold on. How do we do speaker view when you're sharing your screen? Where's that option?
I don't know. I've been doing screen.
Darren,
Yes.
so do you have the little column of people?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so go to the top in the little black bar in the top. There will be the grid for gallery view. Then there'll be two slots. That's like the column. Then there's a single square. Click on that.
No, I don't have any of that you're talking about because
Look, what do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk?
Yeah, so you kind of get the hang of why that was a little bit difficult. I'm not sure many of you in your Zoom calls during this time have had situations like that. But the really, really big problem that we had was syncing voices singing wise. And so we've made choices today to take our big numbers like Wells Fargo Wagon and Iowa Stubborn, and we're having soloists sing all the lines, and we're doing it a cappella for you, so you don't have this cacophony of splattering noise. But in rehearsal, we didn't do that. I mean, we sang. We're going to have the kids sing at home today, and have soloists sort of sing it for you, so that it's not as just disturbing. But so you will understand what we're talking about. I want to give you a little taste of what that was like. So here you go.
if you ask about the weather,
I'm on video settings. I want
God will give you our strength and go back to go with it. If you are shining
So through it all, we had a lot of camaraderie, we had a lot of connections, we had a lot of fun, and I think the kids learned a lot about persevering and a lot about theater. I mean, they learned a lot. They learned a show from top to bottom, and that was a kind of a remarkable thing. And I think we all helped each other through a really difficult time. I know they helped me, and I know they helped the other directors, and we were so proud of them. So without further ado, I hope that you enjoy being a little fly on the wall as we go through a rehearsal of The Music Man.
It is the morning of July 4th, 1912. Imagine a red-plushed, kerosene-lamped, enamel-drinking, cupped railroad coach speeding down the tracks. The car is filled with traveling salesmen, passengers reading newspapers, and one mysterious stranger.
River City Junction, River City. Stop!
You're crazy with the heat. Credit is no good for a notion, salesman.
Board! Oh, board!
Why not? What's the matter with credit? It's old-fashioned. Charlie, you're an Anvil salesman. Your firm give credit?
No, sir.
Anybody else?
River City!
Cash for the merchandise. Cash for the button hooks. Cash for the cotton goods. Cash for the hard goods. Cash for the soft goods. Cash for the fancy goods. Cash for the noggins and the piggins and the firkins.
Cash for the hogshead, cask and demijohn. Cash for the crackers and the pickles and the flypaper.
Look, what do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk?
Where do you get it?
What do you talk?
You can talk, you can talk. You can bicker, you can talk. You can bicker, bicker, bicker. You can talk, you can talk. You can talk, bicker, bicker, bicker. You can talk all you want, but it's different than it was.
No, it ain't, but you gotta know the territory.
Wants a Model T Ford, made the trouble, made the people want to go, want to get up and go. 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 22, 23 miles to the county seat.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Who's gonna patronize a little bitty 2x4 kind of store anymore?
What do you talk? What do you talk?
Where do you get it?
Not the Model T at all. Take a gander at the store, at the Modern store, at the present-day store, at the present-day modern departmentalized grocery store.
What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk?
Where do you get it?
What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk?
Where do you get it?
You can talk, you can bicker. You can talk, you can bicker. You can talk, bicker, bicker, bicker. You can talk all you want, but it's different than it was.
No, it ain't, but you gotta know the territory.
Boys, the you need a biscuit made of trouble. The you need to put the crackers in a package. The you need a biscuit in an airtight sanitary package made of Cracker Barrel. Obsolete.
Obsolete.
Cracker Barrel went out the window with the mail pouch cut plug charmed by the stove. Changed the approach of a traveling salesman, made it pretty hard.
No, it didn't, but you gotta know the territory.
Gone.
Gone with the hogshead casket and demijohn. Gone with the sugar barrel, pickle barrel, milk pan. Gone with the tub and the pan and the tears.
Ever meet a fella by the name of Hill?
Hill?
Hill.
Hill?
Hill.
Hill?
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 No.
Oh.
Just a minute.
Never heard of any salesman Hill.
Now he doesn't know the territory.
Doesn't know the territory?
What's the fella's line?
Never worries about his line.
Never worries about his line?
Or the Cracker Barrel being obsolete. Or the you need a biscuit in an airtight sanitary package. Or the Model T Ford.
What, just a minute?
Never worries about his line.
Never worries about his line?
Or a doggone thing. He's just a bang, beat, bell ringing, big haul, great go, necker nothing, rip roaring, every time a bullseye salesman. That's Professor Harold Hill. Harold Hill.
Hells, what's his line?
He's a fake, and he doesn't know the territory.
Look, what do you talk?
He's a music man.
He's a what?
He's a music man, and he sells clarinets to the kids in the town with the big trombones and the rat-a-tat drums and the big brass bass, and the piccolo, uniform Sue with a shiny gold braid on a coat and a big red stripe running.
Well, I don't know much about bands, but I do know you can't make a living selling big trombones. No, sir. Mandolin picks, perhaps, and here and there a Jew's harp.
No, the fella sells bands, boys' bands. I don't know how he does it, but he lives like a king, and he dallies and he gathers and he plucks and he shines, and when the man dances, certainly, boys, what else? The piper pays him. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When the man dances, certainly, boys, what else? The piper pays him. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But he doesn't know the territory!
River City, we're across the state line to Iowa. River City, population 2212. Cigarettes illegal in this state. Boy!
Alright. If you're all through, I'll tell you about Harold Hill.
You really know Harold Hill?
Never saw him in my life, but I know this much. He's given every one of us a black eye. After he's worked the town over, the next salesman to arrive gets automatically tarred and feathered and rode out to the city limits on a rail. Oh, you think that's funny? Well, wait until it happens to you. Your hair never grows back.
But why should you get rode out of town on the rail?
Because in order to sell band and uniforms and instruction books, has to guarantee teach the kids to play.
Well?
And to form them kids into a band.
Now, what's wrong with that?
He don't know one note from another, that's what's wrong with that. And he can't tell a bass drum from a pipe organ. I'll catch up with that swindling two-bit thimble rigger, and when I do, I'll squeal on him so loud.
You're mad, Charlie. Sure like to be around when you catch up with that fella.
Well, it won't be on this trip. Not in Iowa. Even the great Professor Harold Hill wouldn't dare try sell them next.
Oh, boy!
Gentlemen, you intrigue me. I think I'll have to give Iowa a try.
Don't believe I caught your name.
Don't believe I dropped it.
The man flashes his suitcase, which says Professor Harold Hill. And we now enter the center of River City, Iowa. Mayor Shin is seen entering from the billiard parlor just as workmen pass him carrying a very large crate.
Sir. Good morning, neighbor. Could you kindly direct me to the center of town?
You're standing in it.
Excuse me, friend. Where would I find a great hotel?
You could try the Palmer House in Chicago.
Pardon me, ma'am. I am a stranger in your town. What do you folks do around here for excitement?
mind our business.
Well, you certainly know how to make a fellow feel at home.
Oh, something happened about the way we treat you when we treat you.
Which we may not do at all.
Then Iowa kind, a special chip on the shoulder attitude we've never been without.
That we recall. We can make good thermometers in December if you ask about the weather in July. So fine, stubborn, we could stand touching these eye to eye.
What the heck? You're welcome. Join inside the picnic. You can have your food.
All the food you bring yourself.
You really ought to give Iowa a try.
Provided you are contrary.
Good morning, Thursday.
Good morning, gentlemen.
It is. If you want to go around in your drawers all day.
And there I was in the Madison Hospital, and nobody come to see me. Cousin Will never come. Aunt Bertha never come.
Your Aunt Bertha's dead.
She wouldn't have come anyway.
We can recall the thermometer in December if you ask about weather in July. So, my God, stubborn, we could stand touching noses for a week at a time and never see eye to eye.
But we'll give you our shirt.
And a back to go with it.
If your crop should happen to die. So what the hell? You're welcome. Let's have you with us, even though we may not ever mention it again.
Really ought to give Iowa, Hawkeye, Iowa.
Dubuque, Des Moines, Davenport, Marshalltown, Mason City, Keokuk, Ames, Clear Lake.
Not to give Iowa.
Mr. Squires, I'm interested in a rig for Sunday if you could accommodate me.
Then I expect you ought to see the man in charge of a hiring rigs, who is late as usual.
Hey, Gregory!
Marcellus?
You old son of a gun! What in the world are you doing? But Greg.
The name here, Professor Hill, Harold Hill.
But Greg, what in the world are you doing here? Why didn't you let me know you was coming?
I didn't know I was myself. Besides, how could I know you'd end up in a little tank town like this? You were a pretty big slicker when you were in business with me.
Too many close shaves the way you work. Besides, I got me a nice, comfortable girl. Ethel Toffelmeyer, the boss's niece.
Gone legitimate, eh? I knew you'd come to no good.
What's the new pitch? You're not back in the band business. I thought you was in steam automobiles.
I was.
What happened?
Somebody actually invented one.
No.
So, now give me the lowdown here, Merce.
You'll never get anywhere in the band business with these stubborn Iowans, Greg. Besides, we have this stuck-up music teacher who'll expose you before you get your grip unpacked.
Male or female?
The music teacher? She's the librarian. Female.
Perfect. That's what I wanted to hear. If she passes by, point her out to me.
I will. How are you going to start the pitch?
Same old way. Keep that music teacher off balance, and then my next step will be to get your town out of the serious trouble it's in.
River City isn't in any trouble.
Then I'll have to create some. I'll have to create a desperate need for a boys' band. You remember? Now, what's new around here? What can I use?
Nothing. Except they just put in a new pool table over at the billiard hall.
They never had a pool table here before?
No, only billiards.
That'll do. See you later, Mars, and don't forget, Music teacher.
Music teacher.
Ah, so you're Mr. Dunlop.
Yep.
Well, either you're closing your eyes to a situation you do not wish to acknowledge, or you are not aware of the caliber of disaster indicated by the presence of a pool table in your community. Well, you got trouble, my friend. Right here, I say trouble right here in River City. Why, sure, I'm a billiard player. Certainly mighty proud to say. I'm always mighty proud to say it. I consider that the hours I spend with a cue in my hand are golden. Help you cultivate horse sense and a cool head and a keen eye. Did you ever take and try to give an ironclad leave to yourself from a 3-rail billiard shot? But just as I say it takes judgment, brains, and maturity to score in a ball-blind game, I say that a boot can take and shove a ball in a pocket, and I call that sloth. The first big step on the road to the depths of degradé. I say first, medicinal wine from a teaspoon, then beer from a bottle, and the next thing you know, your son is playing for money in a pinchback suit, and listening to some big out of town Jasper hearing them tell about horse race gambling. Not a wholesome trot race, no, but a race where they sat down right on the horse. Like to see some stuck-up jockey boy sitting on Dan Patch, make him a boil, I should say. Now, friends, let me tell you about me. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pockets in the table. Pockets that mark the difference between a gentleman and a bum, with a capital B and that rhymes with P and that stands for fool. And all week long, the River City will be frittering away. I say your young men will be frittering. Frittering away their noontime, suppertime chores. Get the ball in the pocket, never mind getting dandelions pulled, or the screw nor patch and the beefsteak pounded. Never mind till your parents are caught with the cistern empty on the side at night, and that's trouble. Oh yes, they got lots and lots of trouble. I'm thinking of the kids in the Knickerbocker shirt tail young ones, peeking in the pool hall when after school you got trouble. Folks right here in the city. Folks are here in the city. Trouble with a capital T and that rhymes with P and that stands for pool. Now I know all you folks are the right kind of parents. I'm going to be perfectly frank. Would you like to know what kind of conversation goes on while they're loafing around that hall? They'll be trying out Bevo, trying out Cubans, trying out Taylor, mates like cigarette fiends, and bragging all about how they're going to cover up a telltale breath with sense. And one fine night, they leave the pool hall, heading for the dance of the army, libertine men and scarlet women, and ragtime, shameless music that'll grab your son and your daughter into the arms of the jungle, animalistic mass hysteria. Friends, the idle brain is the devil's playground. Trouble!
Oh, we got trouble.
Right here in River City.
Right here in River City.
With a capital T and that rhymes with P and that stands for pool.
That stands for pool.
We've surely got trouble.
We surely got trouble.
Right here in River City.
Right here.
Remember the Maine Plymouth Rail after school.
Our children's gonna have trouble.
Mothers of trouble. Heed that warning before it's trouble. Watch for the telltale signs of corruption. When your son leaves the house, does he rebuckle his knickerbockers? Be there the new. Is there a nicotine stain in an index finger? A dime novel hidden in the corner crick? Is he memorizing jokes from Captain Billy's whiz bang? Are certain words creeping into his conversation? Words like swell and so's your old man? Well, if so, my friends, you got trouble!
Oh, we got trouble.
Right here in River City.
Right here in River City.
With a capital T and that rhymes with P and that stands for pool.
That stands for pool.
Right here in River City.
Right here.
Remember the Maine Plymouth Rock and the Golden Rule.
Our children's gonna have trouble.
Oh, we got trouble. We're terrible trouble. That game with the 15 numbered balls is the devil's pool. Oh yes, we got trouble.
Yes, we got trouble here. We got
Big trouble with a T. We got a rhyme with P. And that stands for pool.
And now we move to the Peru home. An 8-year-old girl sits practicing the piano while Mrs. Peru listens from the porch. Marion enters as the scene begins.
That you, Dodger?
Yes, Mom,
Amaryllis. I'll be there in a minute. Hello, Mama. Fine. Now, dear, your exercises.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, you should remember the library being open last fair to July.
It was, Mama. All evening. Mama, a man with a suitcase has been following me all over town.
Oh? Who?
I never saw him before.
Did he say anything?
He tried.
Did you say anything?
Mama, of course not. Now, don't dawdle, Amaryllis. So don't to me a little slower, and please keep the fingers as nice and curved and hard as you possibly can. Don't get faster, dear.
If you don't mind me saying so, it wouldn't have hurt you to find out what the gentleman wanted.
I know what the gentleman wanted.
What, dear?
You'll find it in Balzac.
Excuse me for living, but I've never read it.
There is anyone else in this town?
There you go again with that same old comment about the low mentality of River City people and taking it all too much to heart.
Now, Mama, as long as the Madison Public Library was entrusted to me with the purpose of improving River City's cultural level, I can't have my concern that the ladies of River City keep ignoring all my counsel and advice.
But darling, when a woman's got a husband and you've got none, why should she take advice from you? Even if you can't quote Balzac and Shakespeare and all them other highfalutin Greeks.
Same, so you have a bad habit of changing every subject.
No, I haven't changed the subject. I was talking about that stranger.
Stranger?
With a suitcase who may be your very last chance.
Mama, do you think that I'd allow a common master now? Really, Mama, I have my standards where men are concerned, and I have no intention.
I know all about your standards, and if you don't mind my saying so, there's not a man alive who could hope to measure up to that blend of Pal Bunyan, St. Patrick, Webster you've concocted for yourself. Out of your Irish imagination, your Irish stubbornness, and your library full of books.
Well, if that isn't the best I've ever heard.
Thank you. Can I have a drink, please?
May I
May
have
a drink, please?
Yes, dear.
Winthrop? It's after dark. Is that a way to walk into the house?
Hello?
That won't do at all. I'll have a kiss from my eye. The lady over there is your sister, young man?
Hello, Winthrop.
Winthrop? Where's your manners?
I'm having a party on Saturday. Will you please come? I'd especially like it if you come. Winthrop?
Well, Winthrop, Amaryllis asked you to her party. Now, are you going or aren't you?
No.
No? What?
No, thank you.
You know the little girl's name?
He won't say Amaryllis because of the S, because of his lisp. He's ashamed.
We all know about his lisp, Amaryllis. Well, Winthrop?
I'll bet he won't say it.
No, thank you, Amaryllis.
Amaryllis. Amaryllis. He's crying. Why does he get so mad at people? Just because he lisps.
It's not just because he lisps. That's only part of it, Amaryllis.
What's the other part then?
Never mind, dear. It's just he never talks very much.
Not even to you and your mother?
No, dear. We all have to be a little patient.
I'm patient, even though he doesn't ever talk to me. But I do him every night. I say goodnight to him on the evening star. You have to do it the very second you see it too, or else it doesn't count. Good night, my Winthrop. Good night. Sleep tight.
There, darling, don't cry. You have lots of time. If not him, there'll be someone else.
Never. I'll end up an old maid like you. I'm sorry, Miss Marion. Can I play my crosshand piece?
May I play my?
Can I play my crosshand piece?
You may.
See, without a sweetheart, you have no one to say goodnight to on the Evening Star.
I know, Amaryllis. For the time being, just say goodnight, my someone. When the right person comes along, you can put their name in.
All right, that's better than nothing.
Yes, it is. Now you can play your crosshand piece.
Now I may play my crosshand piece.
Good night, my son. Good night, my love. Sleep tight, my son. Sleep tight, my love. Stars shining bright, light for good. Sweet dreams, sweet dreams, to me, close to me. I wish I must sleep and dawn wish star as long as night doesn't come. Sweet dreams, here if dreams you can to I wish and I wish good
We now enter Madison Gymnasium in River City High. It is sparingly decorated with red, white, and blue bunting. The imposing figure of Eulalie McKechnie Shinn is dressed as Columbia with a torch in her hand. Eulalie, of course, is the featured vocalist.
Thy banner may tyranny tremble when borne by the red, white, and blue. When borne by the red, white, and blue. When borne by the red, white, and blue. Thy banner may tyranny tremble when borne by the red, white, and blue.
I'm sure we're all grateful for my wife, Eulalie McKechnie Shinn, for leading in the singing, and to J.C. Squires for his fine stereopticon slides. And to Ethel Toffelmeyer, our fine piano. As mayor of River City, I welcome you River Citizens to the 4th of July exercises set up for the indoors here in Madison Gymnasium. Account for the weather. Fourscore and seven. Thank you. The members of the school board will now present a patriotic tableau.
Read that again. There you go. Yeah, look. Paper.
Oh, the members of the school board will not present a patriotic tableau. Argument over costumes, I suppose. Instead, the Wonton Yi girls of the local wigwam of the Hiawatha tribe will now present a spectacle, My Wife, in which my wife, Eulalie McKechnie Shin, will take a leading part.
Watani! I will now count to 20 in the Indian tongue. 10, 'tother, better. I'm shot! George, who shot me?
Who set off that cracker?
I know who did it. Tommy Gilas did it. Tommy Gilas did it.
Yes, it was Tommy Gilas.
Tommy Gilas, I wouldn't leave if I was you.
Mrs. Shin will recover. No thanks to a certain young ruffian who is a disgrace to our city. 7. Thank you. The Paynes fireworks spectacle, last year's of Pompeii, will now take place, providing the rain stops by 9:30. It will be over at Madison Picnic Park in the far meadow across the creek from the pest house.
How can it be raining? Didn't the Gazette predict fair?
Sure did work. That's why we all prepared for a storm.
The Gazette is accurate most of the time, and you know it, JC.
You wouldn't last very long in a banking business being accurate most of the time.
You know what? You wouldn't last very long.
Order here. Order.
Number 8's late again tonight.
I make her early.
She's late, all right.
She's right on time. What's the matter with your watch?
What's the matter with your watch?
Stop bickering in public.
All in the world I said was...
Never mind. 4 and...
We heard there's a pool table in town.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Now, just a minute here.
Well, is it a pool table or isn't it?
Will you allow me to get on with the exercises?
We don't want any more exercises till we get this pool table matter settled.
Let's protect our children! Resist sin and corruption! Remove the devil and keep our young boys pure! Friends! May I have your attention, please? Attention, please. I can deal with this trouble, friends, with a wave of my hand, this very hand. Please observe me, if you will. I'm Professor Harold Hill, and I'm here to organize the River City Boys Band. Oh, think, my friends, how can any pool table ever hope to compete with a gold trombone? Rah-rah, rah-da-da-da-da-rah-rah. Remember, my friends, what a handful of trumpet players need to the famed wall of Jericho. Oh, billiard parlor walls come tumbling down. Oh, a band will do it, my friends. Oh, yes, I mean a boys band. Do you hear me? I think River City's gotta have a boys band. I mean, she needs it today. Well, Professor Harold Hill's on hand, and River City's gonna have her boys band. As sure as the Lord made Girdle green apples, and that band's gonna be in uniform. Johnny, Willie, Teddy, Freddy, and you'll see the glitter of crafty cymbals, and you'll hear the thunder of rolling drums and the shimmer of trumpets. Tan-ta-ra! And you'll feel something akin to the electric I was enjoying when it Gilmore. 76 trombones led the big parade, while 110 cornets close at hand. They were followed by rows and rows of the finest virtuosos, the cream of every famous band. 10 cornets right behind. There were more than 1,000 green springing up like weeds. There were horns of every shape and kind. There were copper-bottom timpani in horse platoon, thundering, thundering all along the way. Double bell euphonium and big bassoons. Each bassoon having its big fat say. There were 50 mounted cannon in the battery, thundering, thundering louder than before. Clarinets of every size, instructors who improvise a full octave higher than the score. 76 trombones hit the counterpoint, while 110 cornets blazed away. To the rhythm of heart, 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 all the kids began to march, and they're marching still right today.
Men, this calls for emergency action. That man is a spellbinder. I haven't seen Iowa people get so excited since the night Frank Gotch and Strangler Lewis lay on the mat for 3.5 hours straight without moving a muscle. Never mind. I want his credentials. And grab that hoodlum. He nearly blew up Mrs. Shea.
Thank you, Professor. Have to make an example of him. Ringleader, you know, what he does, the gang does.
Chili Clyde, let me go.
No, you're wild, kid, ya. Hanging around my oldest girl. His father is one of them day laborers south of town. You wild, kid, ya. Tagging down Main Street with my oldest girl last Sunday.
I wasn't even tagging.
Don't you contradict me.
We was just walking together, Chili Clyde.
You watch your phraseology. I know what you was doing. My little Gracie seen ya. Now you stay away from my oldest girl, you'll hear me from till who laid the rails. Hill, I'll talk to you Monday about this band thing. Over at City Hall, 10 o'clock sharp. Men, I want his credentials.
Constable, I'll be responsible for the boy.
Don't know this kid. He's tough, and he's got his gang waiting outside.
Oh, I'll be careful. Tommy, I'd like to talk to you about the band.
Oh, gee, Professor, that's for the little kids.
I'm not talking about you playing in the band. You're mechanically minded, aren't you? Have you ever done anything with perpetual motion?
Nearly had it a couple times.
You did? Well, you're my man. Do you realize nobody's ever invented a music holder for a marching piccolo player? No place to hang the music.
Chili Clyde, wonder I could get some wire from.
Look in your cellar. That's where people usually have wire. Oh, Tommy.
Yes, sir?
Now, Constable, I'll show you how to break up a gang. Oh, young lady. Oh, Miss, what's your name?
Zanita, I didn't have any idea you was beckoning to me. He got.
Do you know Tommy Giles?
Well, how gone
Rami,
what
this
is it?
is Zanita. Escort the young lady home, please.
Only accepting I'm not going home. I have to go to the library. Be gods.
Then escort the young lady home by way of the library. By way of the candy kitchen.
Yes, sir. Do I have to?
You have to.
Yes, sir.
Gods.
Professor, you're a pretty bright young fella. You made a couple of mistakes, though.
Oh?
The mayor happens to own that billiard parlor and that new pool table.
Huh. What was my other mistake?
That's Zanita. She's the mayor's oldest girl.
Just a minute, Professor Hill. We'd like to have your credentials. We're the school board.
Academic certificates.
Nothing of the kind. We need letters and papers.
Make him put up a bond!
What am I hearing? Say. Ice cream.
Ice cream. But I don't sing, young man, if that's what you're implying.
All right, talk then. Down here.
Ice cream.
Talk slow.
Ice cream.
Singing is only the same talking. Now you.
Ice cream.
Now you, right here.
Ice cream.
Ice cream. Ladies, from now on, you'll never see one of these men without the other three.
Oh, Professor! Wrong! Why, they've hated each other for 15 years!
15 years.
Ice cream. Ice cream.
Ice cream.
So the school board now goes off to sing in 4-part harmony as Harold follows Marion into the library.
I don't suppose you live alone or anything?
No.
I've actually got some wonderful caramels over at the hotel.
Mr. Hill.
Professor Hill?
Professor of what? At what college do they give a degree for annoying women on the street like a Saturday night rowdy at a public dance hall?
I wouldn't know about that. I'm a conservatory man myself. Gary, Indiana. Gold medal class of all 5.
Even should that happen to be true, does that give you the right to follow me wherever I go? Another thing, Mr. Hill. I'm not as easily mesmerized or hoodwinked as some of the people in this town. And I think it's fair to warn you that I have a shelf full of reference books in which there very well may give me some interesting information about you.
So Marion exits into the library as Marcellus hurries to catch Harold before he follows her.
Hey, Gregory!
Hi, Marcellus, and don't call me Gregory.
How'd you make out with the music teacher?
Scrumptious. Ate out of my hand the moment I tipped my hat.
She did? Boy, did you cut a swath tonight. For a minute, even I thought you knew something about leading a band. Just like when you were imitating that band fellow back in Joplin.
Yeah. That was kid stuff. I'm in rare form these days, son. Just you keep your eyes on me for the next 4 weeks.
4 weeks? It only used to take 10 days for the instruments to arrive.
It still does. But it takes 4 weeks for the uniforms.
Oh no, Greg! You haven't added uniforms!
Uniforms and instruction books.
Instruction books? But you can't pass yourself off as a music professor. Not for any 4 weeks.
Mars.
Look, you don't know one note from another.
I have a revolutionary new method called the Think System, where you don't have to even bother with notes.
But in 4 weeks, the people will want to hear music. You'll have to lead the band.
But when the uniforms arrive, they'll forget everything else, at least long enough for me to collect and leave. Oh, this is a refined operation, son, and I've got it timed right down to the last wave of the brakeman's hand on the last train out of town. And now, Mr. Washburn, if you will excuse me.
Gonna line yourself up a little canoodling, huh?
Well,
You know, I could always match you up with Ethel's sister. Fine girl. Teaches Sunday school.
Oh, no wide-eyed, eager, wholesome, innocent Sunday school teacher for me. That kind of girl spins webs no spider ever. Listen, boy. A girl who trades on all that purity merely wants to trade my independence for her security. The only affirmative she will file refers to marching down the aisle. No golden, glorious, gleaming, pristine Scots. No, sir, for no Diana do I play fawn. I can tell you that right now. I snarl, I hiss. How could ignorance be compared to bliss? I spark, I fizz. For the lady who knows what time it is. I cheer, I rage. For the bitch I'm too late to save. It's better, but eyes are girl for me. No bright-eyed, breathless, blushing baby doll baby. No, sir, that kind of child that ties nuts. No sailor ever knew. I prefer to take a chance on a more adult romance. No, to be young miss who keeps resisting. All the time she keeps insisting. No wide-eyed, wholesome, innocent female. No, sir, why she's the fisherman, I'm the fish. See? I flinch, I shy, when left with the delicate air goes by. I smile, I grin, when the gal with the gypsy walks in. I hope and I pray for Hester to win just one more day. A sadder but wiser world for me. I shy, when the last with the delicate air goes by. I smile, I grin, when the gal with the gypsy walks in. I hope, I pray for Hester to win just one more day. The sadder but wiser girl for me. The sadder but wiser girl for me.
Oh, Professor Hill. Oh, God, please hug. On the Cape Leave.
Everyone's so excited about the band.
I'm Ethel Toffelmeyer, the pianola girl. Oh, and this is Mrs. Squires and Mrs. Hicks. Oh, and of course you've met Eulalie McKechnie-Shinn, our mayor's wife. Isn't it exciting, Eulalie?
Oh, I could not say. I could not say at this time. My husband will wish to investigate, I'm sure. And naturally, I'm reticent. Oh, yes, I'm reticent.
Of course, Mrs. Shinn, I understand. But you see, part of my music plans include a committee on the dance. No, wait. Do that again, Mrs. Shinn.
Huh?
Your foot! The way you raised it just now.
Oh, well, I have a bunion there that bothers.
Oh, what grace! What natural flow of rhythm! What expression of line and movement!
Mr. Hill!
You must accept the chairmanship of the Ladies' Auxiliary for the classic dance, mustn't you, lady?
Oh, yes, please, Eulalie, you must.
Every move you make, Mrs. Shinn, bespeaks Downsart! Will you? Please, Mrs. Shinn, say yes.
You say yes.
Eulalie McKechnie-Shinn. That is dancing. Well,
then you accept.
Yes, indeed. And I would like to say that
Thank you. Now, the young lady who plays the piano, Marion Peru, I believe. After all, she is the librarian.
She must have picked him out first crack out of the box.
Talking up to a man like that.
He wouldn't take and talk up to her. If she didn't take and try turkey talking to him,
Reason.
I'll take her ticket and punch it for her.
Picked her off first crack like a cheap jack.
Not much pick to her, if you ask me.
Pick a little, talk a lot.
Pick a little, talk a little.
Cheap, cheap, cheap. Talk a lot, talk a little more.
Pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheap, cheap, cheap. Talk a lot, pick a little more. Pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheap, cheap, cheap. Talk a lot, pick a little more. Pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheap, cheap, cheap. Talk a lot, pick a little more. Pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheap, cheap, cheap. Woman doesn't belong on any committee. Oh, of course I shouldn't tell you this, but she keeps dirty books.
Dirty books?
Not dirty.
Revelade.
Of course I shouldn't tell you this, but...
I'll tell.
The man lived on my street, let me tell.
I'll tell. She made brazen overtures to a man who never had a friend in this town, till she came here. Old Miser Madison.
Miser Madison.
Miser.
Madison.
Madison Gymnasium. Madison Picnic Park. Madison Hospital. That Miser Madison.
Exactly. Who do you think he was, anyway?
Well, I should say. Show off. He gave the town a library too, didn't he?
That's just it. When he died, he left the library building to the city.
Oh, God, he left all the books to her.
He was seen going and coming from his place.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That woman made...
Brazen overtures with a guilt-type guarantee. She had golden flicks for eyes, a silver voice, a counterfeit ring. She smelt her down in your beyond, muffled red as cold as steel. Here, where a woman's heart should be. Chaucer.
Just a minute here. We need your credentials.
Yes, of course. I have exactly what you need over at the hotel. Come with me. Good night, ladies.
Good night, ladies. We're going to leave you. Farewell, ladies. Farewell, ladies. Farewell, ladies. We're coming to leave you
Harold immediately heads to the library. Marion is at the desk stamping books. Harold sneaks in. Harold sneaks in and cleverly places his hat under her stamper and begins to sing.
Marion. Marbles. 6 Steelies, 8 Aggies, a dozen pews, and 1 big glass with an American flag in the middle. I think I'll drop.
No!
Madam Librarian. My dear, to catch your ear, I love you madly, madly, Madam Librarian. Marion, heaven help us, if the library caught on fire, and the library closed the gate had to whisper the news to Marion. Madam Librarian. What can I say, my dear, to make it clear? I need you badly, badly, Madam Librarian. Marion, it's in my room, and I busted my watch in the lying on the floor, I noticed that the bottom had turned to Marion. Madam Librarian. And look on the window that is darkening, and her every word is a song with the moonlight helping along. But when I try in here to tell you, dear, I need you madly, 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 Marion. Marion, it's a long lost cause I can never win. For the civilized world accepts as unforgivable sin. And he's talking out loud with Korean, such as Mary. Ladies Dance Committee meets Tuesday nights at the librarian. Marshmallow.
We now see Tommy and Harold the following Saturday at noon.
Well, Tommy, we've had a pretty good morning. 11 sales out of 12 tries. You know what? It's almost noon. You better go home and get some dinner. I'll do a couple by myself.
Goodbye, Professor.
Thanks, Tommy.
Harold approaches an impressive doorway and makes his presence known.
Just a minute here. Are you soliciting? You haven't got a license.
Why, no, Mayor Shin. I actually collect doorbells. You know, this particular specimen has an unusual tone quality that has those...
Flattery will not avail you. Solicitory and statutory in this county. Malfeasance without a permit. Well, why haven't you been down to City Hall with your references?
Well, I just missed you. Mr. Mayor, your hand! Oh, no!
What?
That's right, of the little finger. It's hereditary.
Oh, it is. What does that mean?
It means that your son's little finger is perfectly situated to operate the spit valve on a B-flat flugelhorn.
Is that good?
Good! It means that at last America has produced an artist who can flugel the minute waltz in 50 seconds.
Or can I get one of these horns?
Well, just sign here, Mr. Mayor. That'll be $17 import fee.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just think, I could have missed it. I haven't got a son. You unscrupulous, you flew by night, you unflipulous. You be down to City Hall with your by God papers at 3 o'clock.
You mean this afternoon?
I couldn't make myself any clearer if I was a Quaker on his day off.
Oh, we return to the Peru porch that very evening as Harold visits Mrs. Peru. Painfully shy Winthrop hides behind her chair as they talk.
Mrs. Peru, do you realize you have the facial characteristics of a cornet virtuoso?
I don't know if I understand you entirely, Professor.
Well, if your boy has that same firm chin and those splendid cheek muscles, by George, well, not that he could ever really be great, you understand. But
is that so? And in the name St. Bridget, why not?
Well, you see, all of the really great cornet players were Irish.
But Professor, we are Irish.
No! Really? Well, that just clinches it. Your boy was born to play the cornet. Oh, fine. That'll be $7 earnest money and nothing more due until the first installment payable at the opening of band practice. Now, thank you. And of course, I'll need the boy's measurements for his uniform.
His uniform?
His uniform. Hello, son. Certainly, his uniform. And there won't be a penny due till delivery, which gives him 4 weeks to enjoy, to anticipate, and to imagine at no cost whatever. Never allow the demands of tomorrow to interfere with the pleasures and excitement of today.
Would it have a
stripe? Certainly, my boy. A wide red stripe on either side. Now, what do you think of that?
You'll have to excuse Winthrop, Professor. We can't get him to say 3 words a day, even to us. And if you get him to play in the band, you'll have St. Michael's own way with you. But if anybody can do it, I'll bet you can. Out of a crowd, I'll pick you for a hat-carrying, clay pipe-smoking, shamrock wearing, harp playing, mavernine pinching, Tara's Hal, minstrel singing Irishman. Me, Gavin P. Jabbers. Where are you from, Rabbi?
Gary, Indiana.
I knew it. Where did you say?
Gary, Indiana. In fact, Gary Conservatory was my alma mater.
Was she now?
Why, yes. Gold medal class of '05. How to do, Miss Peru?
How to do, Mr. Hill?
Of course. Peru. I thought the name sounded familiar. You know, I've actually tried to see you.
He wants to put Winthrop in the band.
We're not interested, Mama.
But Marion, the boy might have his father's musical gift. He does have my draw, you know.
Oh, your husband musical? I'd like to have a talk with him. Perhaps we could make some
You
sort of arrangement.
burst into everyone's home like this, prying into personal affairs?
Marion.
Well, that's 1 for and 1 against. Now, why not let the boy's father decide?
The boy's father is dead. Anything else?
Oh, I'm so sorry. But that's all the more reason why your brother should have something.
My brother is a 10-year-old problem child who can't understand why his father's been taken away. Would you care to explain it to him? He's been brooding about it for 2 years now. As to your musical tricks, why don't you go into business with some nice carnival man and somebody who sells gold painted watches and glass diamond rings?
Musical I hardly call them musical tricks. You know, I actually get the feeling she likes the idea. Oh, a little cautious, perhaps, but I do admire that in a woman. Just, keep me alive, and I will be back later in the week.
1 moment, Professor. About the boy's measurements, I make all his clothes. Sleeve 21, shoulders 19, waist 18.
Fine. That's all I need. Now I really must get back to the hotel.
Professor, I do hope you'll excuse Marion. She's not really...
Please, do not worry about a thing. I'm sure that at heart she's as lovely as yourself. Good day to you, Widow Peru.
Has he gone?
He has, and I hope not forever. Darling, don't you ever think of your future? Gary, Indiana, Conservation Class Op 5.
Now, Mama, surely a girl's future doesn't depend on encouraging every fast-talking, self-centered, woman-chasing, traveling man who comes to town. And the fact he claims his commodity is music does not, in this particular case, impress me. All down. Thank you, dear.
Now what you up to? Why do you need books at this hour of the night?
I have a feeling the Indiana Journal may help me poke some large holes in this professor's claims.
Well, I give up. At your age, if you don't mind my saying so, what kind of white knight do you expect to come riding along?
Well, I'm not waiting for Luther Greiner, who backs me into the ancient history shelf every time he comes into the library.
He does?
Or Ed Gamage with that buggy of his with the removable back seat. But I'm not waiting for a man in shining white armor either. My white not a Lancelot, nor an angel with wings. Just someone to love me, who is not ashamed of a few nice things. My white knight, what my heart would say if it only knew how. Please, dear Venus, show me how. All I want is a plain man. All I want is a modest man, a quiet man, a gentleman, a straightforward and honest man to sit with me in a cottage somewhere in the state of Ohio. And I would like for him to be more interested in me than he is in himself, and more interested in us than me. And if occasionally he ponders what makes Shakespeare and Beethoven great, I could love till I die. I could love till I die. My white knight, not a Lancelot, nor an angel with wings. Someone to love me, who is not ashamed of a few nice things. My white knight, let me walk with him where the others ride by. Walk and love him till I die. Till I die.
It is noon on the following Saturday, and the Wells Fargo wagon is about to arrive. The excitement in the town center is palpable.
Zanita, hey, Zanita.
Shh, Tommy, Papa and Mama are sitting right there on the bank. Ye gods!
All right, then meet me after supper.
I can't. It's Epworth League night. Meet you where?
The footbridge.
You see? Isn't that just what I said? Last time the lumber yard, and now the footbridge. And where will you meet me after that? In the black hole of Calcutta? Oh.
I only want to show you my invention.
What invention?
My music holder for the marching piccolo player. It has a couple minor flaws. See, when you keep it tight enough to hold the music steady, you can cut off the circulation, and you can't wiggle the fingers. Meanwhile, you could go blind.
Tommy, it's Papa!
Now, isn't that the first thing I said or not?
Yes, George.
Yes, the very first thing I said. I said I'll eat hay with the horse. Get that spellbinder's credentials, I said. Morning of July 4th, 1912. And now look, my wife is off dancing at any all hours of that day instead of in the house.
But George!
The school board's up singing up the street and down alley instead of tending to city matters. And my oldest girl's off boodling around with some hoodlum. And my business is falling off so far I can't find the balance sheet. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, I don't know what to tell you about Zanita.
No, the spellbinder.
I don't mind Tommy.
Oh, the Tommy's some ruffian, and the spellbinder is the cause of some alarm here. And I can't get to the bottom of it because everyone else is off dancing and prancing and singing, and I'm here just standing trying to tend to city matters.
I have found something very interesting in this book about Professor Hill's alma mater,
Is who?
his university.
I know all about his university. In fact, that's the only thing I can get out of him. Gary Conservatory class, Art 5.
If you'll just take the time to read a little bit about his conservatory, I don't think you'll have to look further. It's on page...
Papa, the Wells Fargo wagon is coming up from the depot. Wells Fargo wagon.
A likely story at this hour of the day? It's nonsense.
It could be the Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is a coming down the street. Oh, please let it be for me.
Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is coming down the street. I wish I knew what it could be. I got a box of maple sugar on my birthday.
In March, I got a Freddie Mac.
Montgomery Ward sent us a bathtub and a cross-cut saw.
Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is a coming now. Is it a prepaid surprise or COD?
It could be curtains, dishes,
or a double boiler.
or it could be.
Yes, surely could be. Oh, yes, for
Oh ho, the Wells Fargo wagon is coming down the street. Oh, don't let him pass my door.
Oh ho, the Wells Fargo wagon is coming down the street. I wish I knew what he was coming for.
I got some salmon from Seattle last September.
And I expect a new rocking chair. I hope I get my raisins from Fresno.
The cannon for the courthouse square.
Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is a coming now. I don't know how I could ever wait to see. Something for someone who has no relation, but it could be something special just for me.
Oh, you Wells Fargo wagon, keep a comin'.
Oh, you Wells Fargo wagon, keep a coming.
Oh, you Wells Fargo wagon, don't you dare to make a stop until you stop for me.
Here you are, Winthrop.
The band instruments.
Here's your cornet, Winthrop.
My cornet. Gee, thanks, Professor.
Then, you will each receive individual instruction in due course. In the meantime, stay off the streets, get acquainted with your instruments, and think about the minuet in G. La-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. La-di-da. La-di-da.
La-di-da. Sister, isn't this the most scrumptious solid gold thing you've ever seen? Sister, I never thought I'd ever seen something so scrumptious as this. This scrumptious solid gold thing. Oh, sister.
Round one for you, Mr. Hill. But I better hear some by God tootin' out of them horns in a pretty short order, or I'll see you in front of the county seat over a grand jury over at the courthouse. Now, Miss Marion, about that book.
Come, George. Tempest Fugits.
You watch your phraseology. Get along if you want to. I've got to get something from the librarian about that book.
The Ladies Dance Committee meets Tuesday nights at the high school.
Feel free to unmute and applaud.
Oh!
Take a 10-minute intermission, and please keep your audio muted and your stop video on during that intermission. Thank you. We are returning to Madison Gymnasium. It is the following Tuesday, and the Ladies Auxiliary Committee is rehearsing their presentation for the Ice Cream Sociable. The vocal stylings of the school board accompany their dancing.
Lovely, ladies, lovely. Now turn. Take the body with you. Lovely. Now let's have a go at our Grecian urns. 1, 2 Grecian urns, and a fountain. Trickle, trickle, trickle. Trickle, trickle, trickle. Splendid, ladies. I predict that our Delsart display will be the highlight of the ice cream sociable. Now, gentlemen, if you're ready. And ladies, remember, don't make me tell you again. Always keep your face to the audience. All right, Mr. Dunlop.
It's you in the sunrise, it's you in my cup. It's you all the way into town. It's your sweet hello dear that sets me up. And it's your got to go dear that gets me down. It's you on my pillow in all of my dreams, till once more the morning breaks through. What words could be saner or truer or plainer than it's you, it's you.
Smile, girls, smile.
Yes, it's you! Oh, yes, it's you!
Please, kids, Mr. Shin will have my head.
Mr. Washburn, we are entitled to 5 more minutes.
If you think you can hold these kids back, go ahead.
Get your hands off my daughter!
Papa!
Mr. Shin, Your Honor, your daughter and I are going steady behind your back.
Why, you little...
We'd rather do it in front of your back, but...
Oh, do what? Never mind.
Your daughter's scared of you, but I'm not. I should think you'd hate to have your own daughter be scared of you.
I'm going to warn you once more. If I ever catch you with my daughter, I'll by God, horsewhip you to hell won't have you again.
Now, George!
Not one poop out of you, madam.
I think he means peep.
Yes. And now, now get out of this public building.
I have as much right to be in this public building as anybody.
Right? How do you have any right around here aiding and abetting a swindling activities of the spellbinding symbol salesman? You know what I see all over your face? Reform school. Now get out. Get out, you wild kid.
Papa, please. It's Capulets like you make blood in the marketplace. Gods.
You watch your phraseology, young woman. Go home. Ukulele?
Yes, George. I only wanted to...
You tend to your dance.
My dance? Of course.
I'll handle Anita. Taking up with the wild kids from wrong side of town.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just make you understand.
Well, you can't. And by the way, thanks for nothing. I read the book you gave me from cover to cover for a whole week, and I didn't find a thing.
Mr. Mayor, if you please.
I'll settle your hash as soon as I get these premises off my oldest daughter. Yes.
All right, but in the meantime, I want you to know that I'm vouching for Tommy G. List. That boy's got the confidence of every kid in town. You'll be standing in line waiting to shake his hand by the time that band plays its first concert.
By the time your band plays its first concert, the individual members will have to foregather in wheelchairs on account of them tripping over their legs or their beards for how long they've got it. And I'll tell you, my fine young feathered young, never mind. Oliver, J. Stewart, all in. I want this man's references and I want him tonight. Don't let him out of your sight. He's a slippier than a Mississippi surgeon.
Do you mean you want us to get his credentials?
Get his papers or get him jailed. Couldn't make myself any clearer if I had a button hook in the well water.
Professor Hill, I think Mayor Shin has behaved abominably, and I think it was wonderful of you to come to Tommy's defense.
That was nothing.
Yes, it was.
No, a man can't dodge the issue every time a little personal risk is involved. What does the poet say? The coward dies 1,000 deaths, the brave man only 500. Unfortunately, of course, the mayor was already pretty mad on account of his billiard parlor. Now, I suppose a recommendation from a musical authority such as yourself would help, but I couldn't think of asking you to do something like that.
Why, Professor Hill.
Would?
I'd be glad to. I just wish I was a little bit more informed. I've been wanting to talk to you about Winthrop's cornet.
His cornet? Oh, mother of pearl keys.
I'm sure it's fine, but you see, he never touches it. Oh, the first week or so, he made a few, experimental blats, I guess you could say.
Yes, blats.
And he sings the minuet and G-di-da almost constantly.
La-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da, la-di-da,
But he never touches the cornet.
Well, you see, I do have...
He says that you told him it wasn't necessary?
Well...
He tells me about this think system. He says if you think in minuet of G, you won't have to bother with the notes. Now, Professor...
Miss Mary, the think system is a revolutionary method, I'll admit, but so was Galileo's conception of the heavens, Columbus's conception of the egg, globe, Bach's conception of the well-tempered clavichord. Now, I cannot discuss these things here in public, but if you'll allow me to call, when may I call?
Why, any night this week?
It is just after supper on the following Wednesday evening. The newly deputized school board is hot on the trail of Professor Harold Hill.
Sorry, Professor, but we got our orders. We've been deputized.
Yes, congratulations. Let's see now. All week I've tried to give you my references, and credentials, but every time you seem to somehow get off the subject. Now I have just what you want up in my hotel room. Now, take me a second.
Sorry, afraid I'll have to go along with you.
Yes. Well, let's see if I have my key. Oh, what's this? Oh, a testimonial from Madame Rini, the only female bassoon player to appear on the Redpath circuit. Her stage name, of course. Actually, she was from Moline. Lyderose Quackenbush.
Could I see that for a minute?
Oh, you'll never forget the name, Lyderose. Same as the old song. Light a rose, I'm home again, Rose. Do you need to hear it again? Oh, okay. Light a rose, I'm home again, Rose.
We know that song. Wait.
You do?
One more time.
You do? One more time?
I think we might have it after this one.
Okay.
In the sky, light a rose, I'm home again, Rose, about 1,000 kisses shine. Ding dong ding, I can hear the chapel bell chime. Ding dong ding, at the least suggestion, I'll pop the question. Light a rose, I'm home again, Rose, without a sweetheart to my name. Light a rose, now everyone knows that I'm hoping you're the same. So here's my love song, my fancy old love. Light a rose, so won't you be mine? Light a rose, oh, light a rose, oh, light a rose.
Dream of now, dream of then, dream of a life that might have been. Do I love you? Oh yes, I love you, and I'll bravely tell you that only when we dream again. Sweet and low, sweet and low, how sweet the memory, how long ago.
Open up, exhale, let it go. Beautiful. Lower down.
Forever, will I ever tell you? I know. Dream of dream of when, dream of a person that might have been. Do I love you? Oh yes, I love you, and I'll bravely tell you, but only when we dream again. Sweet and low, sweet and low, how sweet the memory, how long ago. Oh yes, forever ever tell you.
Will you ever stop arguing with yourself? Will you ever just tell him? Won't you ever tell him? Yes, I know. Fiddlesticks, just open your mouth and let it come out.
Now, Mama.
Now, nothing. If he comes to call again, you see him alone. And if you haven't got the gumption to tell him how you feel, then
tell him.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a ladylike hint.
Mama!
Winthrop, where have you been?
Fishing.
Fishing?
With Harold.
You mean Professor Hill?
Mm-hmm. And look, I still have some worms left.
Did you have a good time?
Brumseth. He taught me all about it. He taught me all about his hometown, Gary, Indiana. And he said he'd take me there someday. And he taught me a song that hardly had any S's in it. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, let me say you once again. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, that's the town that knew me when. If you'd like to have a logical explanation, how it happened on this elegant syncopation, I will say without a moment of hesitation, there is just one place that can light my faith. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, not Louisiana, Paris, France, New York, around. But Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, my own sweet home. If you'd like to have a logical explanation, how it happened on this elegant syncopation, I will say without a moment of hesitation, there is just one place that can light my faith. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, not Louisiana, Paris, France, New York, around. But Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, my own sweet home. I'll be back in a minute. I have to show Amaryllis my live frog.
Leave the dishes, Mama. I'll do them.
Don't you have to get ready for the sociable?
There's time later.
Shins live around here somewhere?
The Shin home is on East Elm. This is West Elm.
Criminy. I see you're the piano teacher in town. You must know about this fella Hill forming a boys band here.
Yes.
Well, don't let it worry you no more. I got the goods on him in spades. Swindling two-bit thimble rigger. That's why I gotta get to Shin. I'm just passing through. Number 8 only runs a 15-minute water stop. Wish it was 20. Would sure love to spend 5 minutes with you, girly girl.
Who are you?
Name's Charlie Cal, anvil salesman. But just now I'm out to protect the good name of the traveling fraternity from this swindler.
Mr. Cowell, you're making a big mistake.
Mistake my old lady's corset cover. That fella's been the raspberry seed of my wisdom tooth just long enough. He spoiled Illinois for me, and he's not gonna spoil Iowa. Say, what kind of music teacher are you? You didn't see through him. He's no more professor.
I know all about that. Band leaders are always called professor. It's a harmless deception. He's a fine director, and his scholastic...
Now, wait a minute. Fine director? Have you heard one note of music from any band?
No, but...
But nothing, girly girl. He never formed a band in his life, and he never will.
If you'll just listen to me for a minute...
I'd like to do more than that if I had the time. I sure got the inclination. But I gotta get back on that train, and I gotta leave this dynamite with someone on the way to the depot. Bye, girly girl. See you next time through.
You'll never make that train. You'll have to at the crossing.
No, sir. I've gotta leave word. And I can see you ain't the one to leave it with.
Just a minute. Mr. Cowell. You don't know you don't know me yet.
Is that an invitation?
No! I mean, I don't know you, and...
Yes, I need more time anyway.
I mean, as well as I'd like to.
Oh, there's no trouble there, girly girl.
I've never met a man who sells anvils. That's something, well, quite different.
It takes a real salesman, I can tell you that. Anvils have a limited appeal, you know. What am I doing? I'll miss that train, I'll get fired. And I gotta leave word about that fella Hill.
Leave word with me.
Not in your tin type. How do I know you'll deliver those letters?
Try me. There's your train. Now run for it.
Why, you double-dealing little... Who do you think you're protecting? That guy's got a girl in every county in Illinois, and he's taken it away from every one of them. And that's 102 counties! Not counting the piano teachers like you he cozies up to keep their mouths shut. Neither one of you's heard the last of me, girly girl.
Marion! Marion, who was you just talking to out there? Why, Professor Hill.
Miss Peru, Mrs. Peru. Top of the evening, Miss Marion.
Well, you and Marion, come up and sit. I've got some jelly on the stove.
There's no jelly on the stove, Mama.
Oh, I'll go put some on.
So, shall we set, as your mother said?
Oh,
You did ask me to call, didn't you?
Did I? I didn't mean anything.
Oh, now, Miss Marion, I am not suggesting your invitation inferred anything but academic enlightenment. The think system? I've been by your house a time or two this week to try to explain it to you, but there always seem to be people around, mostly ladies, I thought.
Yes, Mrs. Squires and several of the ladies.
I'm glad. Wouldn't want anybody beating my time. Well, it's evidently not the convenient night. I'll see you at the sociable later.
Professor Hill, is it true that you've had 100, what I'm trying to say is,
yes.
Is it true that you've developed a think system?
Think system? Yes, think system. Yes, it's really very simple as whistling. Nobody has to show you how to use your lips in whistling. You only have to think a tune to have it come out clearly. Here. Now, just try this yourself before you ask any questions.
I take your word.
Could we sit down?
Are all music teachers as dense as I am?
All music teachers?
I dare say you meet dozens, even hundreds.
Well,
have they all been as fascinated as I have with the think system?
Some more, some less. One young lady had thought up the same system before I got to her town. She showed me a few refinements.
I see.
Have I said something wrong?
Please don't let me keep you, Professor Hill. You must have many more important things to do than explain the think system to me.
I can't think of one.
And I must say, I must be very dull company for a man of your experience.
Now say, where would you get an idea like that?
One hears rumors of traveling salesmen.
Now, Miss Marion, you mustn't believe everything you hear. After all, one even hears rumors about librarians.
I suppose you're referring to Uncle Matty.
Uncle Matty?
Mr. Madison, my father's best friend. No matter what they say, he left me an assured job so Mother Winthrop and I would have some security. Surely you don't believe.
Of course not. That's exactly what I'm saying. But why do you think people start these rumors?
Jealousy? Jealousy mostly, I guess.
Exactly. And jealousy often starts rumors of traveling salesmen. What have you heard?
Oh, nothing about you. Personally, just generally.
What have you heard generally?
Just that, but of course, it stands to reason that, that disappointment and jealousy can lead to, take you for instance, your attentions to customers and, well, teachers might be misinterpreted, mightn't they? Certainly not, mightn't they?
Why?
And so you say, if another salesman or somebody were jealous, well, they could be downright lies, couldn't they?
What could?
Rumors and things?
Of course.
It just proves that you should never believe everything you hear. Doesn't it? I mean, if you discuss things.
Miss Marion, I would be delighted to discuss anything in the world with you, but couldn't we do it sitting down? You do sit, your knees bend at all?
We could sit on the porch steps.
We could also sit on a large hollow log over at the footbridge.
I couldn't think of it. I've never been to the footbridge with a man in my life.
Just to talk.
I've got to dress for the sociable.
Then meet me there in 15 minutes.
I just can't. Please, another time, maybe tomorrow.
Miss Marion, pile up enough tomorrows, and you'll find that you've collected nothing but a lot of empty yesterdays. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd like to make today worth remembering.
So would I.
Footbridge, 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Mama?
What?
I just told Professor Hill I'd meet him at the footbridge in 15 minutes.
Glory be and saints be praised, it works!
What does?
I've been using the think system on you from the parlor.
The ice cream sociable is in full swing, and the teenagers are ready to lead the dancing. Shapoopy!
Start out, Mr. Washburn. Wait till you see the new steps Professor Hill taught us.
What'll it be?
The Shapoopy.
I'm trying to start her up. Hold on. There we go. Now, a woman who'll kiss on the very first date is usually a hussy. And a woman who'll wait till the second time out is anything but fussy. And a woman who'll wait till the third time around, head in the clouds, feet on the ground. She's the girl he's glad he's found. She's his Shapoopy, 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 Shapoopy. The girl that's hard to get. Shapoopy, Shapoopy, Shapoopy. But you can win her yet. Walk her once just to raise the curtain, and you walk around twice and you made for certain. Once more in the flower garden, she will never get sore if you beg her pardon. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, so, fa, mi, re, do. Squeeze her once when she is looking. If you get a squeeze back, that's fancy cooking. Once more and pep her up, she will never get sore if you beg for supper. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, do. Now little old Sal's a no-gal, as anyone can see. Look at her now, she's a go-gal, who only goes for me. Squeeze her once when she isn't looking. If you get a squeeze back, that's fancy cooking. Once more for a pep her upper, she will never get sore on her way to supper. Mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, do. Shapoopy, Shapoopy, Shapoopy. The girl that's hard to get. Shapoopy, Shapoopy, Shapoopy. But you can win her yet.
Whoopee! Oh, we are now at the footbridge. Harold impatiently awaits Marion's arrival.
Hey, Greg! The uniforms have arrived. The kids are in them already. The people are going to be screaming for music if they show up at the sociable.
Yeah.
I got Tommy to collect it. He's at least trying to keep the kids together. He's pretending to hold a practice over at the lumberyard.
All right, Mars, go get the rig.
I got it.
What time's the freight go?
9:40 from the junction.
It's not even 8:30 yet.
Look, you want to turtle waddle and get yourself caught in a bunny trap? You go ahead, but I'm not going down for this.
Don't worry, Mars. I'll meet you there in plenty of time. Miss Marion, you're late.
But you said 15 minutes.
And you were about, well, I'd say about 26 years late. Took you all this time to get to the footbridge with the fellow.
If you want to know the truth, it was almost long.
Oh?
Halfway here, I nearly turned back. I suppose I'm not the first to find it easier to think clearly when I'm not under the spell of your salesmanship.
Now, Miss Marion, surely you don't think I've been selling you anything?
No. You've given me something. That's why I decided to come.
I don't recall giving you anything.
Oh, yes, you have. Something beautiful. That's why I came. And I'm glad. Oh, please don't be afraid that I expect too much more. One can't expect a traveling salesman to stay put. I know there have been many ports of call, and there will be many more. But that's no reason for me not to be grateful for what you will and have left behind for me. There were girls on a hill, but I never heard them ringing. No, I never heard them at all till there was you. There were birds in the sky, but I never saw them winging. No, I never saw them at all till there was you. When there was music, and there were wonderful roses, tender and sweet
Mary, there are many things you don't know about me that I need.
Hey, Greg!
Excuse me, I'm expecting a cable from Hector Berlioz. This could be it. Now what?
Who's the salesman here? Sounds like she's selling and you're buying.
You nuts! I didn't know I would be able to leave tonight. I had to keep her off balance, didn't I? I told you that I'd meet you.
She's so far off balance, you can't tell her the difference between her and a catboat and a hurricane.
Listen, Buster Brown, I have come up through the ranks on this skirmish, and I am not resigning without my commission. Now, go get the rig. Never a piece.
But Greg, you can't get anywhere right out here on the footbridge.
There's a place over at Madison Park that makes this footbridge look like the old ladies' home. Go get the rig. Never a peaceful moment in the music business. Now, where were we?
You were about to tell me what I don't know about you.
Yeah. Well, we don't really have to get into that now, do we?
No, we don't. Or ever, for that matter, Harold. The librarian hasn't felt like doing much research lately. But she did plenty when you first came here.
Oh. About what?
About Professor Harold Hill, Gary Conservatory of Music, gold medal class of '05. Harold, there wasn't any Gary Conservatory in '05.
Why, there certainly was.
The town wasn't even built until '06. I'll see you at the sociable.
You knew all the time?
Since July 7th, 3 days after you came, I tore this page out of the Indiana Journal. It was originally intended to use against you, but all my heart.
But if you knew, why didn't you just tell me? Why, you little... Where's Mars?
You! I've been looking for you. Oh, I missed my train. I probably lost my job. Oh, but I got you now, Hill, and you'll pay. You'd be in the clink right now, hadn't it been for that piano teacher. I told her all about you, and what'd she do? Lilligags me around till I couldn't get the shin. Little dried up, man-hungry doxy, round heel fizzgig.
Get out of here or I'll kill you, you dirty mouth, little...
You bully! You big blow-off! I'll stay in this town till you get yours up, down, through, and sideways. Why, you never even knew the territory!
Greg, the rig's in the alley. Come on, hurry up.
But Professor Hill stands still, not moving. And now we direct our attention to the Madison Picnic Park. It is finally time that the Ladies Auxiliary will dazzle us with their Grecian urn display. Let's watch.
Oh no. Two Grecian urns and a fountain.
Stop! Listen to this man!
You gullible green grass goats! Can't you get it through your heads right now that you're being swindled out of your eye teeth? Right now, this minute? There's a burglar in the bedroom while you're fiddling around in the parlor. I'm talking about Harold Hill, road agent, highwayman, pickpocket.
Pickpocket?
Same thing. He's had his hand in your wallet, mister. And yours, madam. And yours, little lady. Ever since the first moment he came into this town. There's more documented evidence than you'll ever have time to read. There hasn't been any band. There never was any band, and there never will be any band. And if you don't hunt this man down right now like a mad dog, there won't be any Harold Hill either. He'll be on the next train out of town.
Now will you believe me?
Well, what are we waiting for?
I want my money back.
Money back? I want his hide.
After him! And when you find him, bring him to the schoolhouse. After him! Try the little back of the privy.
I think we should split up. I'll look by the footbridge. That doesn't sound like a very good place to look.
Do we have to? I'm too tired.
New plan. Just follow me. Well, hurry up before he gets away.
Children, come along now.
We're going the wrong way.
Train's the other way. You're too little.
Now come along.
Yes, ma'am.
Out of my way, you slowpokes.
I don't understand how he fell for his tricks.
He's kind of handsome. Handsome? Ew, you're crazy.
He's 100 years old.
Enough of that. Let's find the varmint.
Arian, I've been looking for you everywhere. Where have you been?
Harold, I've been looking for Winthrop. He's run away. Please, go, please. Harold, they're even talking about tar and feathers.
I had to see you, Marion. I could not just leave without...
No, it's all right. You don't owe me a word. Not a word. Please, just hurry, please.
I can't.
Please, I don't know where Winthrop is, and I'm terrified. And what's gonna happen? I don't know what they're gonna do to you.
Frank, he isn't anywhere over here. Try down by the creek.
They're looking for me.
They are, and I don't know what's going to happen. I wonder where Winthrop is. Winthrop! Winthrop!
Winthrop.
Winthrop! Winthrop, I can't hear you.
Hey, wait a minute here, son.
Go of me.
Not till I talk to you for a minute.
I'm not listening. You wouldn't tell the truth anyway.
I would too.
Would not.
Would too. Tell you anything you want to know.
Can you lead a band?
No.
Are you a big liar?
Yes.
Are you a dirty, rotten crook?
Yes.
Leave go of me, you big liar!
What's the matter? You wanted the truth, didn't you? Now I am bigger than you, and you're just gonna stand here and get it all, so you might as well quit wiggling. There are two things you're entitled to know. One, you're a wonderful kid. I thought so since the first. That's why I wanted you in the band, just so you'd quit moping around, feeling sorry for yourself.
What band?
I always think there's a band, kid.
What's the other thing I'm entitled to know?
Well, actually, the other thing isn't any of your business, now that I think of it.
I wish you'd never come to River City.
No, you don't, Winthrop.
Sister, you believe him?
I believe everything he ever said.
But he promised us.
I know what he promised. And it all happened just like he said. The lights and the flags and the colors and the symbols.
Where was all that?
It was in the way that every kid walked around the town here all summer and looked and acted, especially you. And the parents too. Does Mama wish she'd never come to River City?
Well, you do. Don't you?
No, Winthrop. Now go, Harold, please.
Wait.
I can't go.
Go, Professor. Hurry up.
I can't go, Winter.
Why not?
For the first time in my life, I've got my foot caught in the door. And I can't get it out. There was love all around, but I never heard it singing. No, I never heard it at all, till there was you.
Greg, they're here! That way! That way!
Go on, Professor. That way! That way!
But the professor does not run. Constable Locke solemnly takes him into custody. And meanwhile, we, one last time, head to the Madison Gymnasium. The mayor is at the podium.
Which is why I interrupted the program at this point. Rest assured, the snake in our bosom would have been misapprehended by this time. Yes, and always remember, fellow river citizens, I can only remind you that I did everything in my power to prevent this dire happening from happening. 80.
What have you done to get our money back?
That professor collected nearly $300 for uniforms just tonight.
And we haven't even seen them uniforms yet.
Well, he's slippery. I told you that.
I haven't seen any uniform or my boy either since just after supper.
He's a kidnapper. That's right.
Fine situation here.
Just a minute. Virtue has triumphed. The sword of retribution has cut down Professor Harold Hill. And if there are those, as I have heard, who are melting tar and collecting feathers, I will not say them nay.
Well, I should think there ought to be some of you who forget our everlasting Iowa stubbornness, chip on the shoulder arrogance, long enough to remember River City before Harold Hill arrived. Do you remember? Well, do you? Surely some of you ought to be grateful to him for what he's brought to River City. And if so, I should think you'd want to admit it.
You're wasting a great deal of time here. If there's a person in this hall who doesn't wish that this man Hill shall be tarred and feathered, let him stand up. You lady, sit down. And for the rest of you, standing there like a cool of Shaw's-fire sheep, have you forgotten that you bought expensive uniforms, technical instruction books, and high-priced band instruments? Have you forgotten the clear understanding and warranty that your children ought to be taught to play in a band? Well, where is this band? Where's the band?
Think, men. Think.
Eddie, that's Eddie's clarinet.
Play to me, hon. Play to me. Lizzie, my Lizzie.
That's Lisa.
Bravo! Bravo!
I lost her.
Yes!
And one final short little video.
I need Darren to stop sharing his sound screen.
Try again.
There we go. Thank you.
A little final love letter.
He was cute.
That was cute.
Well, I got a hell of a lot of credit.